So let's go to blockchain and aviation, all right? About 3 months ago, I embarked on this journey, and I said, I want to do something to help people understand blockchain and aviation. So I committed to doing an 8-week series. You know, I do a lot of things on social media. I've actually done about 1,000 live broadcasts with different companies. I bring companies in, I interview them, I learn about what they're doing, and I incorporate that really into my knowledge bank of information. And I said, I'm going to do a series on blockchain and aviation. I'm going to see how it goes, right? And I contacted a bunch of different companies. I contacted about 50 or 60 different companies, and I found 24 different sessions I was going to do where we were going to focus on blockchain and aviation, right? And so that's really that's where it started 3 months ago. And I ran this 24-episode live broadcast over 8 weeks. And if you think it's hard to pull together, you know, one live broadcast, try to pull together and coordinate 24 of them over 8 weeks in 2 months. It's really difficult because the schedules are moving, and you know, it takes a lot of time. So I interviewed innovators and leaders and different business owners who are implementing blockchain. And this is really what I want to talk to you about today. I want you to open your eyes about some of the use cases. I actually, I about a year ago would run some clubhouse rooms on aviation, aerospace, and people would join and we'd have audio conversations. I stopped doing that because I got too busy. And then I opened up another one last week, and one of the guys said on the clubhouse, he says, I'm going down to the conference. He says, I'm going to go watch this. I don't know if you're in the room here, but the guy said, I'm coming down here because I want to watch this presentation. And he said, because the problem is that I don't know what use cases there are. I know people say blockchain, 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 but what's the use cases? So that's where we're going to go here today. All right, so first, in order for me to do this, I just want to give you a couple slides about blockchain so you can kind of zero in on really, you know, what it is and how it's different than anything else that exists out there. And so there's a lot of things that people need to learn about technology, including blockchain, and I want to give you a few key things. But it's no different than anything else. What's the who, what, when, where, why, and how of what you're trying to do? That's really what it boils down to. So we'll hit on a couple of those things, okay? What's the evolution of the web? You know, Web 1.0, I was working at Jeppesen back when Web 1.0 came out, and the training guy said, the internet will never happen. It'll never occur, all right? Well, I don't blame him for not believing that it would go, but we just can't predict and see the future. But Web 1.0 was back in the 90s where we had browsers and we moved into things like Facebook, and then Web 2.0 meant that we put in place things like social networks. And now we started having our phone where we could get to Airbnb and get to different things like that. And it became mobile and really cloud-driven computing. And now as we go into Web 3.0, we're talking about, you know, AI-driven things and decentralized applications, and we're talking about different technologies that are, you know, built on the blockchain. Now, just for quick clarification, if you're a blockchain person, you might be on the camp of saying there's no such thing as Web 3. All right, Elon Musk came out and said, Web 3 doesn't exist. All right, he said it's just a gradual evolution of one to whatever, you know, is what it is. All right, so if somebody's arguing with you over whether there's a Web 1, 2, and 3, it doesn't matter to me. What we have is we have advancing technology, which is leveraging, you know, decentralized applications on the internet. Okay, so that's really what it is. All right, so let's go on. So next, really, what is blockchain? Just one slide about what is blockchain. Okay, blockchain is really putting applications, or it's accessing data on a distributed ledger, and we're sharing, you know, information across our business network. We're using cryptographic or crypto transactions is what we're doing, and we're doing that within a decentralized architecture. We have different security protocols, which give us, in many cases, advanced security, and when those security protocols aren't followed, we have less security. Okay, and it's still a maturing, you know, industry. We have different business rules and validation. We have a concept where when something is published to the blockchain, it's immutable. With my son, we published some things to the blockchain yesterday. I made a mistake. It's there forever. It's never going to go away. It's on the internet, okay? And some of it's private and confidential. And so just the concept, think about it for a minute, is what we're talking about is it's a decentralized distributed data ledger that really uses peer-to-peer consensus or talking to one another, you know, in the exchange of information. And there's other advantages and disadvantages that roll around it, but for the purposes of our discussion, that's what we're talking about today. Okay, I want to bring in one of my guests. This actually was the last guest on my 24-episode series, and he was Horst Trebelmeyer. He's a professor at International Model University in Vienna, and he's really an expert on blockchain, and it was such a pleasure to talk with him about these things. And the next slide, I'm going to tell you about the concept that he pointed out, which really rang to me, and I wanted to share that with you. But he put up this little slide, and he said, hey, you know, we have all sorts of different things that are happening today. We have investment or financial world. We have supply chain management that's occurring. We have payments, and we have loyalty programs, and we have NFTs, and we have digital identities, and we have air traffic management. And all those things are high generalized use cases that we're dealing with, today. But the next thing is what he said to me is what really rung, true to me, all right? And he said, all blockchains are not created equal. If you walk in here today and say, crypto, it's not going to go, I don't think it's going to happen, then, and you say blockchain isn't going to work, that's not the message, that exists today. Really, we have crypto, NFTs, and blockchain applications. They're not all created equal. They're on different paths. If you're looking at the financial world and you're looking at cryptocurrency, for example, yes, there's ups and downs. And our world is the US. In other parts of the world, they've spent more time putting regulations in place in order to be able to make it more successful faster in some areas, okay? But our SEC in the United States is spending time right now trying to figure out what the rules and regulations and the guidelines are. And so cryptocurrency has been a bit rocky. I have a question for all of you out there. Help me out with this. Who holds cryptocurrency? Can you help me? Just give me your hand up. Who holds cryptocurrency? I have maybe less than 5% of the people in the room, okay? In the United States, about 19% of the people in the US hold a wallet, hold a digital wallet, and they hold cryptocurrency. They may or may not use it, so there's a smaller fraction of that. Maybe 5% of those people actually use it. And since typically we see aviation, because it's conservative and it's regulated and we have risks we have to manage, we typically see some of those things lagging behind even further. So maybe 1% of the people, in aviation are even involved in blockchain or cryptocurrency or something like that. However, it is moving forward, and I'm going to give you some examples. But here, it's kind of like saying I need information technology, all right? You need IT, you need a computer. Well, what are you going to do with it? Or do you need a phone, or do you need an MRO system, all right? And so you can't just say that we need blockchain, because it's way too broad. It's a superset. And each of those things are moving forward on their different path and under different regulations and have different business purposes and application. And so we can't speak of it generically other than it's a term that says that we have aircraft IT, we have digital, all right? That's at the high level that we're dealing with. Well, we have digital, and then we have blockchain, and we have lots of things under that, just like we have lots of other technologies that revolve under that. So why can't you compare, crypto market or NFTs, to blockchain applications? Because they're all different. It's a totally different category. And I'm going to share with you today different ways in which some of these things are being executed or being accomplished. All right. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about what people are doing today. I'm going to sort of help you get started in what some of your innovation is, just to get some ideas going. And please don't be offended if you already know some of these things, or I welcome conversation, and I've learned so much from the people that I've worked with. And if you want to engage with me and have a conversation about this, I had a lively discussion with a friend of mine who has a company, and he says, we don't need blockchain. I talked to the CEO of Kraken, and he said, I don't need it. All right, well, maybe you don't. I don't know. Maybe it's not right for your application. All right, so there's a lot of discussion that has to occur. I've really learned so much, but join me for a quick tour. All right, I want to start out by saying I'm not affiliated with any of these companies. I've done an initial review of them. I've learned a lot of things. It's been very interesting, and I've learned some use cases that are so interesting to me. And there's a term in blockchain and cryptocurrency that's DYOR, do your own research. Don't rely on somebody else's research. Do your own research, or go to an expert, or hire a consultant, or and collaborate and learn, but don't just do something without understanding.